Yo, what's good, everybody? Welcome back to another one, and today I'm going to be recording a gauntlets guide because I felt like I should have done one by now on my channel. I have a movement guide if you want to go check that out and you're trying to improve your movement, but without further ado, let's get started. So, first thing I wanted to cover are some of the true combos. So, first one that I wanted to talk about is downlight sidelight. That's probably going to be the one you're using the most whenever you get the opportunity. Another one is D-light down air. Pretty situational. I'll talk about, by the way, like later on, like when to use these combos. And then another one that you have, which is like kind of like a kill confirmed one, is D-light recovery. And then another like mid-air combo that you could do is downlight neutral air. So those are just like a few of like the basic combos. That's mainly what you're going to be using on gauntlets. And then now I kind of want to get into like the reads that you can do a little bit. So a lot of you guys wonder how to read like up dodges, but I'll first do the horizontal dodges. So for example, if they dodge in, right, one thing you could do after sidelight is like that combo right there. Now to kind of explain what my inputs are, I'm just sidelighting, turning around, right, sidelight, turn around, and then you grab. So practice doing that first until you get that input down, and then after you do the grab, you would do a gravity cancel sidelight recovery, but I just missed that. Yeah, okay, like that. You would just do like a gravity cancel sidelight recovery like afterward that neutral air. And that's kind of how you read it in dodge. Now, you can also just recovery like this. And this is something I also wanted to talk about. If your opponent does any horizontal dodge or up dodge, or just a straight up dodge in any direction, right, you can just use recovery. So after sidelight, if they dodge away, you could just recovery like that. And let's say they dodge to the left, alright? Where's left at? Okay, right there. You can just also do recovery in that direction, and then it catches that as well. And also, this goes for up dodges. So yeah, let's say they dodge upright. You kind of just drift with them for the recovery, and it catches that as well. And then you can do up left. Same thing goes there. And then for up dodges, you kind of just have to like pinpoint, like try to go into the center of where their body is located, and then you just recover there as well. And then keep in mind, this can also work for like up and in. So like you kind of just like, oh my bad, that's up right. Yeah, okay, up left. So if they do an up and in, you kind of just turn around your character and recover just like that. So in short, if you're trying to read any horizontal or up dodge, just use recovery pretty much. And then like to follow up afterwards, you know, you could just do like a neutral air or something, depending on what their health is. Or you could do like a down air for another follow-up. And then when it comes to reading the down dodges, right, one thing that you can do is you could just fast fall like the neutral, like the way I just saw. Just to put like that into perspective a little bit, you sidelight, fast fall, neutral air, and then that's when you would gravity cancel sidelight recovery to finish off the combo. Another thing that you can do is you could just fast fall recovery like that if you want to play like a little bit safer. The only like bad thing about it is that you just get less damage, but sometimes it's better to play safe than play sorry, so choose whichever one. I recommend the neutral air one because it's not really too risky and you won't get punished for it most of the time. So when it comes to the down right and down left dodges, like down right first, you could just do another sidelight, and that's pretty effective. And you can also just do like a grab like that. Like, see, he's a little bit too close to the stage, so let me just move him over here a little bit. All right, so now I should be able to show you guys. So you would just drift a little bit to the right, grab him like that, and then you get that silent recovery. And then you can imagine the same thing kind of for the left side. Like, see, if they dodge in like that, you could just stay there. And then let's say you have momentum with them. Like, let me just move this bottle a little bit. All right, and then they do down left. You just drift over with them and then do the same combo again. So those are most of the reads that you're gonna need to know on gauntlets. Now there are a little bit more like situational true combos that you can also use as well, and I'll show you some in just a sec. All right, so when your opponent is jumping like this, you could just simply jump into neutral light. You have to hit the neutral light pretty close. So let me just move this ball a little bit more so I have more space. Oh, he's still resetting. All right, okay, that should be good now. So what was I gonna say? you can like jump this with momentum and then boom. As you can see, that's a little bit of a true combo right there. I recommend this a lot actually when you grab the mid-air, because you're gonna be using neutral air a lot on gauntlets. So it's definitely something that I go for a lot myself, and I recommend you do the same. Now, to get into some of the simple like starter combos, I would say, like one I recommend is sidelight neutral air, right? This is like a very basic combo on gauntlets that you're gonna use a lot. A combo I recommend learning after that, like the way you input it, first of all, I should probably explain that, is you simply just do a sidelight and then you just do a neutral air. One input after the other. And then a little combo with a little bit of experience and training is this right here. Now, at the higher levels, like if you're like around like 2500, 2400, maybe like a little bit higher, a lot of people are gonna fast fall out this combo. But if you're like around like goldish plat watching this, then this is still a pretty viable combo to go for. But something that I recommend after grabbing them like that is side airing. Now keep in mind that sidelight neutral air is not a true combo, so you only want to go for that if you have someone's dodge. So like for example, let's say like, I don't know, he dodges his like, I put his dodge to in or something. Alright, okay, so I'll put it to right. So I grab him right there, and that's when the combo becomes confirmed and they can't escape it. So that's when you would want to use like those types of combos. And as you can see, like same thing applies. The direction and the way you read them completely depends on where you are on the stage. But those are some things you want to keep in mind when it comes to reading. You know, gauntlets is such a versatile weapon, so you could use it to catch pretty much any dodge read at any particular moment. Alright, so another like kind of dodge read I like to go for when my opponents are at low health. So when they're like around like 160, right? Something I like to do is like after a D-light down there, a lot of people tend to like dodge left or right in the situation. So you could just simply recovery like that to read a dodge in, and then if they dodge away, right, you can also just like chase them a little bit like that, and boom, that catches. And also if they do upright, that catches as well, you know. And so you can imagine the same thing for up left. I like going for this a lot. I learned this from watching like other professional players. That guy just incorporated it into my playstyle because I just saw how effective it was. So if you are looking for some extra like kill options, you could just go for that and then try to read them. So now to get into a little bit more of like the complicated stuff. By the way, you don't need to learn this by any means, but I see some people trying to go for it, and it's very situational. But sorry, I just messed it up right there. So this is grounded D-light neutral air. I haven't done it in a while, so I'm a little bit rusty at it. But to be honest, you don't really need to know how to do this. Just to give a little quick tutorial on people who are trying to learn it though, the way you do it is by downlighting first, right? And then you have to chase dodge in the direction of your opponent, so you should be doing this. And then after you do your chase dodge, you do a jump. And you don't know if you're doing it right because your character kind of looks like they're floating a little bit. It's really hard to tell. Like you see right there, like how my foot is like a little bit off the ground. That's how you know if you're doing it right. So after you do that, then you would just kind of neutral air right after that. Now, in this game, whenever you are not touching your L stick, D-pad, your keyboard, whatever you play on, whenever you're not touching any directional inputs, it automatically defaults to a neutral attack. So if you're on the ground, it's going to be a neutral light. And if you're in the air, it's going to be a neutral air. So when you're doing the grounded combo, you want to take advantage of the fact that you don't have to click any directional inputs, right? So after you do the downlight, after you do the chase dodge, after you do the jump, that's when you would just kind of like chase dodge in that direction. And then, you know, let the fact that you don't have to touch it, any directional inputs, do the work for you, you know? And you can do pretty much the same thing with recovery. Now, I rarely go for this. Not gonna lie, I probably should because it's a true kill combo. It's hard to get down, But once you practice it enough, you could actually use it in your games. As you can see, like, this could be a pretty solid kill combo. It is hard to input though. So my tip is don't really practice this unless you have a bunch of the other like factors down. But if you felt like, or sorry, if you feel like you're pretty confident in your ability to do so, then, you know, go for it a little bit. So now talking about like how to like kind of like find attacks with gauntlets, I'm actually gonna go into a game real quick so I can kind of like explain my thought process a little bit when it comes to, you know, finding like certain attacks with gauntlets. And then yeah, let's get straight into it. All right, so against this opponent, I'm kind of just gonna like explain, you know, in detail. Slow the video down if you need to, by the way, to get like a lot of the important stuff out of it. I'm just gonna talk about like kind of like why I go for certain options and like what my thought process is behind it. Oh, whoops. I guess he wants a fist bump. All right, so right there, you can see like that combo, the sidelight recovery one, pretty effective. And with gauntlets, you always want to be looking for those D-lights. Like you see there, I'm not punishing with a sidelight. Most of the time, I'm punishing with a downlight because when you punish with a downlight versus a sidelight, you're getting extra damage, you know? It's basically double damage as opposed to just a sidelight. So I always try to punish a sidelight, as you can see right there, to kind of make sure I'm getting that extra damage, you know? He just uses dodge, so that's I can use one of the combos that I learned from earlier in the video. As you can see, I'm just mainly looking for those D-lights. Red is dodge. You can use sidelight a lot to read your opponent's dodges. And then you could use recoveries a lot to apply like that aerial pressure, you know? Gauntlets is a very oppressive weapon where you want to constantly be applying pressure. As you can see, when you have their dodge, you can use that sidelight recovery combo. And then now that he's starting to enter like the kill percentages, this is when I could use that one downlight downer combo that I showed you guys earlier. It depends on what his dodge options are. Like, see if he dodges in, that would catch. I'm predicting a dodge away though. Oh, I just missed the combo. All right, so dodge away. See, just like that, he jumped and dodged into that and is still caught. So that's a little example of like how to play gauntlets. You want to make sure you're applying that pressure a little bit, making sure you're hitting as many downlights as possible as opposed to like, you know, sidelights to get the most damage you can out of it, using those recoveries to like read those up dodges and stuff like that, and, you know, catching landings and doing everything you can to keep on the pressure for your opponent. All right, so one other thing that I wanted to discuss when it comes to like reading on gauntlets and just finding your hits is like after a neutral air, right? A very like common thing, and it just works really well, by the way. It's just something I recommend putting into your playstyle. It's just neutral air into dash jump down air like that. It feels extremely fast and it just has had a lot of success. And it's one of those things that, you know, it just works because, I don't know, a lot of people just don't dodge it. And then after that combo, right, you could get things like, you know, neutral air like that, I don't know, into a recovery or something. It's just one of those things that I recommend putting into the playstyle. And another thing, if you're trying to like, I don't know, read more dodges after a neutral air, you could do a little bit of a ground recovery. So like, let's say they dodge like I don't know, up left, right? You could just do something like this, get a little combo like that. And then you could imagine, you know, kind of a similar thing for the opposite direction if they do up left. Oh, my bad. I meant to do upright. Sorry about that. So upright. You could just do something like that. And then if they do like, I don't know, right. You could, like, the way I'm doing that, by the way, is I'm neutraling jump chase dodge, right? Neutral jump chase dodge, and then I'm doing a recovery. So it's all like pretty much one fast input. So like that. That's basically the way I'm doing it. And this works in most situations, as you can see. Like, it doesn't really matter if they do a left, I could do that as well. The only part where it might have a hard time, you know, like, it might have a hard time working is probably if they do a down right or something like that. As you can see, it even still works. So this pretty much catches any, like, dodge in the direction they do it in, you know? It just, you have to make sure you space it right. As you can see, it's a little bit inconsistent. That's why I don't recommend it for like down right dodges. But if they do like a down dodge, it's just best to sidelight like that. And if you're very confident, you can delay sidelight and then, you know, do the combo or something like that. And then if they neutral air like that and they dodge in, you could just backdash into a sidelight neutral air, and you can imagine the same thing for the other direction. You could just simply walk like that, and then you can downlight into it if you're confident. I think I already said that earlier, but you guys kind of get what I mean. Yeah, that's basically the Gauntlets guide. Hopefully y'all enjoyed. Let me know if you guys want to see another guide like this in the future. I'm definitely down to do more guides like this for maybe Scythe, because I'm pretty experienced on that weapon. I think I could show you guys a lot of new things on there. But yeah, peace out, have a great rest of your day.